Hi, I'm Pastor Ken Chorley at the Market Street Presbyterian Church in Lima, Ohio. And as you can see outside my window of my church office, there's been a snowfall. And it's a cold winter in Lima, Ohio, with snow on the ground and wind chills. And it brings to mind a story from my life as a pastor, preacher, minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ for 40 years. I was ordained March the 1st, 1981. So let me tell you about an incident that occurred in my life and ministry whereby God used me as an answer to prayer. It was a cold day like the one outside my window. There was snow on the ground and wind chills exceeded 10 below zero. I was serving a small country church outside of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. On a Monday, I went to the local corner store to get some groceries. I made myself a promise as a new pastor that I would take Monday as a Sabbath and that I would not go over to the church on a Monday. While I was at this little corner store, a still small voice spoke within me. "Ken, go over to the church." And I reasoned with the small voice, "No, it's Monday. It's a Sabbath for me. As a pastor, I need a Sabbath, and it's Monday, not Sunday." Again, the still small voice spoke, "Go over to the church." And I could not find a logical reason to go over to the church. Once again, the voice spoke to me, and I said, "Okay, I'll go. But if I'm going to go over and be sure the furnace is running." So I went over to the church. And lo and behold, in the driveway, there was a car stuck in the snow. Now I knew the owner of the car, and I thought to myself, what is she doing here? With this miserable weather out and wind chills blowing across the field. Oh, I know, she's here to gather up bulletins from the Sunday service and then mail them out. For this individual had a little ministry of mailing out bulletins and putting a personal note on them, letting the individual know that he or she was missed and he or she was in our thoughts and prayers. I thought, well, that was wonderful that she came over to get them. But why is her car stuck in the driveway? And as soon as I entered the church, she was seated on a chair in a little office for the secretary. She was huffing and puffing with her breath, and she just got out, "I called, and they're going to call an ambulance." I immediately assessed that she was possibly in the middle of a heart attack. She then began to slump over, and I caught her so she didn't fall and injure herself in the fall. It became apparent to me that perhaps these were the last few breaths that she would take. I immediately began to recite the 23rd Psalm and pray for her. And after doing so, I decided to do something I had never done, and that is try to administer mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. The ambulance had not arrived, and I didn't think it could hurt. So with her lying on the floor, I did my very best to try to put breath back into her and stimulate the heart at the same time. It was all in vain. Quite literally, I was the last individual on this earth that she saw. Now, I am convinced that she offered a prayer. It says in Psalm 118, verse number 5, I called upon the Lord in distress, and the Lord answered me. Now I am convinced that this woman in her distress prayed a prayer. Lord, send someone, anyone. Or she might have even actually been praying for me as pastor. And lo and behold, that still small voice spoke to me while I was at the deli in a local grocery store and said, get over to the church. Perhaps the still small voice of God is speaking to you right now and instructing you in some way that you can't understand. Perhaps you could be an answer to prayer for someone, a friend, a neighbor, a family member. I would like to encourage you to listen to that still small voice, because God may be speaking to you and instructing you to do something like I was instructed to do on that cold winter day in a small country church just outside of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I called upon the Lord in distress, and the Lord answered me. Psalm 118, verse 5. I was privileged to be an answer on that day. And perhaps you also can be privileged to be an answer to someone's prayer. I would like to thank you for watching Wanderings in the Wilderness with Pastor Ken. Thank you. This concludes the video.